begin. A charitable gift annuity is a way to make a gift to a charity, and in return, you receive money back for the rest of your life. That's why it's often called the gift that gives back. And so let's go a little bit deeper. I'm going to get a little more technical, but not too technical. A charitable gift annuity is a way for an individual or an entity, in rare cases it can be an entity, to make a gift, and in return, 3 benefits are received.
Welcome to the Generosity Now podcast, where we bring you inspiring stories of generosity and whole life stewardship. Our goal is to showcase individuals and organizations making a positive impact in our communities and across the globe. I'm your host, Eric Most, president of the National Christian Foundation, Rocky Mountain Region, and I'm joined by my marvelous co-host, Laurie Bosser, VP on our team. Laurie, how you doing today?
It is so fun to be able to be here and to join with George, and we're going to just have a lot of fun talking about charitable gift annuities.
We are in a solution series where we're highlighting organizations that help you solve some of your giving frustrations. In this episode, we are talking with George Duffin. George is the Director of Charitable Gift Annuity Services at the National Christian Foundation. You know, it's not every day that we talk about the work that we do here at NCF directly, but we thought that this was a very important topic to bring to you so you could learn a little bit more about charitable gift annuities. George, welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here, Eric.
Well, George, would you give us a little bit tell us about yourself. Tell us about your family, growing up, things like that.
Well, growing up, I grew up in Washington, D.C., which is a very interesting place to grow up, maybe for obvious reasons. But the not so obvious reasons is it's a city without a state or a county. When you think about when you fill out forms and you put your address, you always put state. Well, Washington has no state and it has no county. But I grew up in a very strong sense of community. The people there loved on you and they looked out for you. I had several mothers on the block, as you would say. And if I did anything mischievous, I don't know how, my mother would know before I got back home, whatever I may have done that wasn't quite right. So I love growing up in Washington, D.C. My family today, I'm married. I've been married since 1999. I have 2 wonderful children. My daughter's name is Shekinah, as far as Shekinah Glory. That's how we named her. And my son's name is Josiah. When I was in college, I was part of a Bible study, and we learned about this 8-year-old king who turned the heart of God's people back to God. And I thought, I want to name my son Josiah. So that's what we did.
That's fantastic. I love the intentionality of naming your children as you have, and so growing up in DC, that's what I have. Family that runs the Eastern Market, the meat department in the Eastern Market, if you know that spot. So what a great town to grow up in. But what brought you to NCF, George?
Well, I was working with Charles Stanley Ministry, In Touch, working there for 14 years. Loved it. Actually, that's how I met my wife, was through that ministry. And as much as I loved what I was doing there, I wanted to start my own business. And so I did in 2005. Started my own business to do the exact same thing I was doing at In Touch, but for multiple ministries. I wanted to just have a broader impact, not just with one ministry. And it was through working that Kingdom Development Group, which was my own business, that I got connected with National Christian Foundation. And at first I thought I was going to be a contractor. And as I prayed about it, the Lord said, well, what is your 5-year plan with the Kingdom Development Group? And I said, Lord, you already know. I committed it to you. I want to work with X amount of ministries during a certain period of time. And God said, I can exceed that day one with NCF and give you insurance. So it was pretty much a no-brainer that I was able to join the staff of NCF in December of 2005.
Well, we love that we get to work with you, George, so it is quite the pleasure. On the Generosity Now podcast, we talk a lot about generosity and whole life stewardship. Would you share a bit about your own journey as it relates to generosity and stewardship?
Oh, wow. Yes. I have been the recipient of extreme generosity. And I'll give you a couple of examples. When I wanted to go to college, my parents didn't have the money to send me to the college that I wanted to go to, which was Morehouse College. It was and is still very expensive. Well, I stayed out a year to work. So I had 1 year of college covered, didn't know how I was going to get through the other years. And it was an aunt of my father who paid for the rest of my college with cash. And the thing that really stuck out with me, she wasn't an executive. She wasn't a C-suite, as they say. She worked at a department store that had 3 locations in DC and was human resources. And she saved her money. She worked hard. She saved her money, and she had the ability to pay for more than half of my college in cash. And then when I got to college, going through CRU, Campus Crusade for Christ, the campus person was the most generous person I've ever met that didn't have a lot of money. He held everything with an open hand. I'll give you an example. I wanted to go home for Thanksgiving 1 year, and I didn't have the money to go home. And he said, "George, take my car." I'm like, "Are you kidding? This is driving from Atlanta to Washington, D.C., about 10 and a half hours. I said, "I don't want to take your car." And he said, "No, please take my car." And he didn't have a second car. He wasn't on the metro line where he could catch a subway or a train. So he was without a car the entire time. But that's just who he was, and that's who he continued to be all 4 years of my college. And then after college, or while I was in college, I heard a message from Dr. Stanley. This was the first time I heard a preaching message about stewardship. It was called Your Faith in Your Finances. And I love the way that Dr. Stanley integrated the two. In my mind, sometimes they were bifurcated. There was a block here for your faith, a block here for your finances. But in his message, he wonderfully integrated the two to say that your faith and your finances, you can't pull them apart. They tell the same story. And then I got involved with Ray Line of Lifestyle Giving, and Ray taught me to be very intentional, not only during life, but to do planning at death. So he would often tell people to make sure that your estate was in order and that you had intentional plans with your estate, whether it was, he would often say that after you have that hug from the Father, make sure that your children are hugging here on earth. And so those are just some examples of people with generosity, and for me to develop stewardship, and for that to be really important and intentional in my life.
Share some of that story about people being generous for our college education. And it's so beautiful. It's an amazing story because so many people with student loans today it's such a different thing. And to be able to have people that walked alongside of us and paid for our college for us is just a gift. And it continues. It was where a lot of mine started also. That was just a beautiful story. So thank you so much for sharing that. You can also see how God has woven together your story of that generosity starting early and Ray Line's relationship in that space of faith and finances, and how God had all of this already planned, and especially with what the work you get to do with us now. So can you explain to our listeners what a charitable gift annuity is and why individuals would choose to utilize them?
Sure. So let me give a very basic rudimentary explanation of what a gift annuity is, and then we'll dive in a little deeper. Very basically speaking, a charitable gift annuity is a way to make a gift to a charity, and in return, you receive money back for the rest of your life. That's why it's often called the gift that gives back. And so let's go a little bit deeper. I'm going to get a little more technical, but not too technical. A charitable gift annuity is a way for an individual or an entity, rare cases it can be an entity, to make a gift, and in return, 3 benefits are received. The first benefit is a charitable deduction, an income tax deduction. The second benefit are payments to 1 or 2 individuals for the rest of their life. The third benefit is a charitable remainderment to benefit the mission of the charity that you want to support. Now, the rate of those payments for life are based upon 2 things, 2 factors. It's based upon the timing, whether you want to do it now or defer it. The principle here is the longer you wait, the higher the payout rate. The next factor is your age. The more senior a person is, the higher the payout rate. The good thing with charitable gift annuities are that 96 to 97% of charities offering gift annuities will follow the rates by the American Council on Gift Annuities. In that way, a person doesn't have to rate shop to wonder if ABC charity is offering a higher payout rate than XYZ charity. No, the vast majority of them are offering the same payout rate. Now, that's a rudimentary explanation. That's a more technical. But if I may add a third definition, and this is taking a page out of the book of Ray Line. He would often say, hey, look, before you get into the technical, before you start talking about private letter rulings or exclusion ratios, is there a spiritual component to what you do? And for that definition, I would glean from Charles Stanley when he talks about the biblical principle of sowing and reaping. Charles Stanley would often say that you reap what you sow, you reap later than you sow, and you reap more than you sow. And when you see how a charitable gift annuity works, where a person makes a gift, they're receiving payments back, those payments can actually exceed the original gift, and you make a gift to charity. That's Charles Stanley's principle at work. Now, I love the way that Luke 6:28, I believe, no, it's Luke 6:38 puts it. I love the way that Luke puts it, where he says, give, and it shall be given back to you.
That's so good. Thank you so much for that quick overview and some of these, just really good insights. The benefits that you went through, the income tax deduction, the income tax preferred, and the charitable remainderment. Help me understand that aspect. So if we have the gift amount, the remainderment would be the payments that were still guaranteed for life. Is it the remainder that's available that then is given away?
So Eric, let me explain it like this. I want to explain it 2 different ways. I love that you asked that. I want to explain it in the traditional way, and then I want to talk about how NCF does it, which is a little different. So imagine when a person funds a gift annuity, that amount is placed into what's called a CGA, a gift annuity reserve, where it is segregated. It's only gift annuity money in that reserve. And as the person, the payment recipient, is receiving the money, it's being paid out of that gift annuity reserve. What is left over once that person hears, well done, thy good and faithful servant? So at death, the remainder goes to charity. And the American Council on Gift Annuities say that on average, there is a 50% residual to charity. So what that means is, if a person funds a gift annuity with, let's say, $10,000, for example, $5,000 on average is available to charity in the future once that person passes away, if they should live to their life expectancy. And that's how it's done in a traditional way. That's how it's done. Gift annuities have been issued since the 1800s. So this isn't a new kind of giving tool. NCF does it in a slightly different way. And our reason for doing it in a different way is we wanted to create a win-win-win. We wanted to create a win for the person funding the gift annuity. We wanted to create a win for the charity that is receiving that charitable remainderment. And we wanted to create a win for NCF. So if you think about the way I explained it with that charitable remainder, or a charitable reserve amount, a charity literally could lose money on a gift annuity. Well, how does that happen? Two things. As that money is placed into that gift annuity reserve, that receptacle, and you're investing it, one, if you do not get the expected returns that the American Council of Gift Annuities assumes, then that is depleting as you're making payments. The second way you can exhaust that reserve is the person living longer than expected. And the joke here is, if you do a gift annuity, you're almost guaranteed longevity. We had a person to pass away last year at 107. 14 to 17% of our database is 90 and above. So just the first gift annuity that we issued in 1998, that person definitely is still alive and doing well. And so that was the challenge, is NCF did not want to lose money on a gift annuity, nor did we want where the remainder charity did not have anything for their mission. So we did something called reinsurance. And what reinsurance is, it's backing that payment obligation with a commercial annuity from a highly rated insurance company. So that if you follow the flow, when a person funds a gift annuity and that money goes into that CGA reserve, that gift annuity reserve, at that point, we go to an insurance company. We explain the obligation that we have to make to that individual for life. Say we're paying them, let's say 6.5%. The insurance company then says, okay, well, this will be the premium, the reinsurance premium that you will pay, and we'll make the payments through NCF for the life of that individual. And let me explain what that does. Just that little act does three amazing things. One, for the person who's funding the gift annuity, they now have a double layer of certainty that those payments will last for their life. The payments are now backed not only by NCF, but by a very large and healthy insurance company. So that if NCF should fail, then that insurance company will step in and make payments for the life of that individual, and vice versa. So for the person who's funding the gift annuity, they have greater certainty. For NCF, as I've explained, the organization issuing a gift annuity could actually lose money. In 2008, we had an uptick of ministries joining NCF because they did just that. They had their own program and they were losing money. You can remember 2008, the economy during that time. And so for us, it protects that unrestricted or that CGA reserve, because that reserve has to stay healthy. The various states will monitor that reserve. In order for us to be compliant, we have to keep that reserve at a certain amount. So it helps us to keep from having to put unrestricted money into that reserve to keep it healthy. So it's a win for us. And then the win for the charity is they do not have to wait until that person passes away and hear, well done, thy good and faithful servant, to benefit from the gift annuity. They can benefit at the onset in present value terms. So if they're expected to get 50%, let's say with the same example, $10,000 gift annuity, $5,000 in the future, if they're expected to get $5,000, let's say the person has a life expectancy of 17 years. In 17 years, we provide that in present value terms at the onset. And so it's a win for the charity. Also, the givers love this reinsurance because now they can see their gift at work during life as opposed to death. So if they had a charity that they wanted to benefit, let's say that was into sex trafficking, to say, I can provide a present value now as opposed to 17 years has been a value to that person funding a gift annuity.
George, there's no doubt that when I talk to ministries and the givers that are doing some of the CGAs, I think that last benefit is really the one that excites people, is that the work is getting out to God's kingdom currently. And it is really wonderful that the ministries get that money through the reinsurance program.
George, you said something that the funder gets the benefit of the tax deduction. And that made me go down a trail. I think I've heard you tell a story before where we had a funder was, say, Gen 1, and he actually funded a gift annuity for the next generation. It was like for his kids or his grandkids. Is that accurate? Is that can the funder designate somebody other than themselves as the annuitant recipient?
Absolutely. So the donor has the choice to choose up to 2 individuals that will be the payment recipient. And Eric, what we are seeing is that charitable gift annuities have become an amazing tool to help with the great wealth transfer. We had an individual, a father, who wanted to help his daughter without hurting her, where the transfer of wealth, he had seen some patterns in her life in the past where she did not show a financial stewardship. I was trying to think of a less offensive word. So thank you for that. Financial stewardship. And so he utilized the charitable gift annuity in a way to help her without hurting her. So he funded a charitable gift annuity that would provide her payments. Now, this was a very unique situation. You can do it, a father or a parent can do it for their child, defer the payments, to say maybe when they're at age 50, and then they get those payments for life. But this person was in their 20s. And we don't do charitable gift annuities for someone in their 20s. It was such a unique situation where we did what's called a commuted payment gift annuity. It's very rare, but you take the life payments, and for a person that's in their 20s, that payout rate would be so small, and we would not want to issue a gift annuity for someone that had such a long life expectancy. But what we did, she exchanged those life payments for payments over 12 years, which made the payments larger. The father was happy because he's hoping that it would give her a better sense of stewardship to handle the money in a more wise way than she had shown previously in the past. And he wanted to use that as a springboard. Now, as far as the deduction, because he was the donor, he received the charitable deduction. She received the payments for life.
And the beautiful thing in that scenario is dad is able to continue, he's still alive in the state and is able to help her with the stewardship of those funds as she's receiving it, potentially. You've talked also about different ways that charitable gift annuities can be funded. Actually, I've heard you talk about it. I don't think we've talked about that yet here on the show. So lots of people fund a charitable gift annuity with cash gifts. But one things that we say here out at NCF a lot of times is friends don't let friends give cash. And there sometimes are better or other more tax efficient vehicles for doing that. And so what are other ways that people are able to fund a charitable gift annuity?
So cash and marketable securities, as you mentioned, are definitely one of the ways to fund, or two, I guess, ways to fund a gift annuity. The other way is complex or non-liquid assets like closely held business or real estate. Now, a lot of organizations will not offer gift annuities when it comes to these type of funding assets because of the liability involved. But that is something that we do consider on a case-by-case basis and have done that several times. So we can use those complex assets, Now, as of last year, the Secure Act 2.0 allowed a QCD, or qualified charitable distribution from an IRA, to fund a gift annuity. This year, there was an increase adjustment for inflation. So a person can make a qualified distribution from their IRA in the amount of $53,000 to fund a charitable gift annuity.
George, a unique thing also about doing a CGA with NCF is that remainder benefit, that reserve benefit that we double insure that goes for charity today, that can go into a giving fund. Is that correct? Where they can then give to multiple charities?
That is correct. Now, with the exception, if it's funded by a QCD, then it would not be able to go into a giving fund. But yes, a person can do one gift annuity and benefit multiple charities through NCF because the charitable remainderment will be their giving fund or donor advised fund.
Georgia, I think you used the example of a minimum amount for a CGA. You mentioned a gift of $10,000. Is that a minimum for NCF? And is there a maximum out there as well?
Yeah, so $10,000 is our minimum, and it is a very low minimum when you consider organizations that are issuing gift annuities for the benefit of another organization, like being a third-party administrator. I don't know of another organization that has that minimum of $10,000. Now, for us to issue and offer $10,000 gift annuities, that really is about enhancing relationship opportunities for givers and the ministries that they want to support. Now, as far as a maximum, no, we don't have a maximum. We've done a gift annuity for $34 million. And that one worked extremely well. We were able to reinsure that gift annuity as well, and that person was able to give significant amount to the charities that were near and dear to their heart at the onset.
That number is amazing, George. That is absolutely amazing. How many gift annuities does NCF do? Like, how many did you do in 2023?
2023, we almost did 100 gift annuities in 2023, which is amazing. When I came in 2005, we had a total of 115 gift annuities that were issued. And so last year we did almost 100. Today we have 1,400 or over 1,400 gift annuity agreements that have been issued through NCF. And what's amazing about that number, so take it, we have 1,400 gift annuity contracts, but when it comes to the donors that have funded gift annuities, we have 1,158 donors that have funded gift annuity, which is less than the number of agreements. Now, what's amazing about this, when you have a gift annuity, you can have one contract and two donors. And so it is easy to have more donors than gift annuity agreements. But if that person does multiple gift annuities, then you end up getting more gift annuities than you have donors. And that's what we have. The idea here is a happy annuitant is a repeating annuitant. If you do the program correctly, you pay the payments when you're supposed to pay on time or even early. We make sure that we send the payments out early to arrive on time. You'll find that people will do multiple gift annuities. We have a person that just funded our most recent gift annuity. This is their 91st gift annuity with NCF. I don't know of another charity that has an individual that has issued that many gift annuities.
And somebody, and maybe this is unique for that type of individual. Maybe this isn't true for this person, but you can also delay the receiving of that income, which then can that change the amount that they are able to give away in the future as well?
Yes. Can I talk about one of them? I'm not supposed to have favorite couples, But there is a couple that did 27 what's called flexible deferred gift annuities with NCF. The idea here was the husband set up the gift annuity. He wanted to tie the payments to a time when he would retire. And he wanted to make sure that he and his wife were able to benefit, as well as benefiting two charities that were extremely near and dear to his heart. One large national charity and one small camp that was local. And so with these 27, they had a starting date that could start from 1 year after it was deferred. It pushed out to 10 years. It was up to him to decide when those payments would start. Each passing year had a higher corresponding payout rate. And there he got to the point where after 10 years, he still didn't want the payments. He wanted, because he was still working, he wanted to further defer those payments. Well, it's decided at the onset, so he couldn't further delay the payments or defer the payments. So he had to start taking the payments, but he was elated to be able to maximize, which he didn't know when he wanted to start the payments at the onset, but to be able to delay them to get a higher payout rate worked extremely well for him. And let me tell you something else about this couple. He did eventually retire. He started getting Alzheimer's, and he would call me late at night and ask me, are the gift annuities are still good? If something were to happen to me, would my wife get the payments? I was like, yes, your wife would get the payments. They will be the exact payments. They would not be cut in half. She would be taken care of. And that was a huge concern on his heart, even when he was struggling with Alzheimer's. Well, in December, we got a call from the family thinking that he had passed away, and they called to tell us that she had suddenly passed away, and he passed away 2 days later.
Wow. George, is there a time when a CGA actually does not make sense in a giver's giving strategy?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that we have the ability to tell people, no, this may not be the best giving tool. If someone is trying to use this as an investment, this is not an investment. This is a way to give that does provide a benefit back, but it should be clear this is not an investment tool. I know when I was with InTouch, if someone, you got the idea that someone was giving a large amount that they thought they may need in the future, because this is an irrevocable gift, and that would hurt my heart. If someone did a gift annuity and then they had a life event where maybe they were in a nursing home and they needed that money back, then those are not necessarily the best candidate for a gift annuity.
That's good. Love the wisdom there, and also the willingness to say, hey, this probably isn't the best thing for you. And so, George, if a nonprofit leader was listening to the podcast in this episode, what would you like them to know about CGAs and NCF?
We're here to help you. We are here to come alongside you. If you look at gift annuities, there are 4 aspects to a gift annuity program. There's the marketing gift annuity as a tool. There's educating the individual on what a gift annuity or how it works specifically for them. There is the 3rd aspect is the implementation of the gift annuity agreement. And then the 4th is the lifelong administration. We're here to come alongside you to help you with the first 2. With the marketing, we have marketing tools. We're here to help you to educate the person on the benefits of a gift annuity, and then the handoff. We come in and we'll implement the gift annuity. We will do the lifelong administration. We take on the liability. So for that charity, it's important to know that we will issue the gift annuity is between NCF and your supporter, but for the benefit of that organization, your charity. So you do not have to have the concern about liability. The next thing I would tell them is that gift annuities are, there was a previous thought with charities that if a person did a gift annuity, then they're going to stop with my annual giving, that I won't get the annual gifts. They'll just trade off the gift annuity for an annual gift. And the American Council on Gift Annuities did a survey which showed that that is not the case. That when someone does a gift annuity, it does not adversely affect their annual giving. Here are the percentages. I want to read this to you. 54%, there was no impact to the annual giving when a person did a gift annuity. 42% of the people that funded a gift annuity actually increased their annual giving. And most charities don't have that in mind. They think they're going to stop. 4% of the people that did gift annuities decreased their annual giving. And then when it comes to estate gifts, 45% of people that did a gift annuity, there was no effects on their estate giving to that same charity. 52% also included an estate gift with their gift annuity. And then 3% removed the estate gift once they did the gift annuity. So you do a gift annuity, it provides an opportunity for other gifts, be it annual gifts and estate gifts.
Those statistics are absolutely amazing and really fun and helpful to hear. And it is, nonprofit leaders are often the ones that are talking to their supporters and talking, providing gift annuities as an option. But also, some of our givers can also call our NCF offices and do gift annuities without that charity side that we had brought up earlier. So I think it's helpful that we have the ability, and your team is amazing at serving all of those people to write those gift annuities. So do you have any final thoughts, George, that you would like to share, or advice that we have not been able to share with our listeners yet?
I guess as a final thought, I would just like to say that we are here for you. We have seen a major increase in gift annuities. Just this quarter, we've done more gift annuities. We've had a 42% increase in our first quarter than any of the previous years. The American Council on Gift Annuities had 2 increases to the payout rate. So gift annuities are extremely popular during this time. And so people are looking to do gift annuities. I would say definitely to organizations, don't be like a lot of charities and be reactive. So many organizations, charities come to us because the individual, their supporter came to them and said, do you offer gift annuities? I've done one at another organization, and now I want to benefit your charity through a gift annuity. And then that charity doesn't know what to do. And so they do the research, they come to us, and they will engage with us so that we could offer that gift annuity to that individual for their benefit. But what if they were proactive? What if they engage with us to offer a charitable gift annuity, and then so what if they were proactive? What if they engaged with us and offered to their supporters, have you considered funding our ministry through a charitable gift annuity?
George, we really appreciate the time and your expertise in this. I've learned along the way, and this is helpful even for me as we think about, where does a charitable gift annuity fit in the lives of the givers that we have the joy of walking aside. So thank you for your expertise. We're grateful to know that if you listen here, be it a ministry or an individual, and want to explore a charitable gift annuity, connect with your local NCF office, and they'll work hand in hand with George and the team in the annuity team at NCF. And so thank you for the time, George. And on the Generosity Now podcast, we do seek to inspire, equip, and connect our listeners for generous kingdom impact and whole life stewardship. For more information on us, please check us out online at ncfgiving.com/Rocky Mountains. and generositynow.org. Please go ahead and subscribe to our podcast, leave us a 5-star review, and share it with your network. Today's doxology comes from Galatians chapter 6, verses 9 and 10. Laurie's going to read that for us.
And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap. And if we do not give up, I'm going to start that again. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap, if we do not give up. So then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, and especially to those who are of the household of faith.
Yes and amen. George, thank you so much for being us today.
It's been my pleasure.
Thanks, George.